Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we'll be talking about an upcoming theater production, and my guest today is Burkett and Lacy Alexander, here to talk a little bit about Company. So first off, tell us a little bit about the show.
Company is about a young man named Bobby, who is a bachelor in New York City, and he is surrounded by his married friends. So he gets to see the pros and cons of married life kind of vicariously through their lives throughout the show. And
so you mentioned there a single guy wanting to know about married life, and our single guy here, the main character of the show. Tell us a little about, putting yourself in that kind of role. Obviously, were you in that kind of mentality of somebody who's worried and thinking about what married life is all about in real life?
Absolutely. And I think everybody is at a certain point, and the great thing about Bobby is that he wants something from each one of these couples, but when he's in the scene with them, it's only trying to survive. And that's what it is sometimes, You have two people that are in a relationship together, and you kind of watch it and you see kind of like what's going on, what's happening, and how crazy it can really be. And it's just a really amazing show just to see all of these people come together and do this stuff.
An amazing show, yeah. And it's a piece by Stephen Sondheim. And for those that are fans of the musical world, it's a kind of a unique show when you see a Sondheim show and put one on. And what's it like, putting a show like this, bringing it to life here on stage here?
It is interesting. This is probably one of the more adult-oriented shows I've done since I've been here. Stephen Sondheim's music is very difficult. There's not a lot of chances to breathe. There are some really tight harmonies, very repetitive sometimes. So this music of Sondheim has probably been the hardest part of the process, but because it's been a hard process, that also makes it very rewarding when we get the whole thing up. So.
And there you did mention it's kind of a mature theme, and that is kind of a warning, to the viewers out there who are interested in coming here, that there are some mature themes throughout this play, right?
Yes, very much so.
And so be careful of that. But you talk about putting a show like this together. You talk about the musical elements and doing a show like this. How hard is it to prepare for a role in a performance like this?
Well, you realize Sondheim's a little crazy and you learn to love it. But it's really just amazing music. It's all about understanding the classical aspect of Sondheim, because there's a big classical aspect to it. And you really push yourself very hard to try to get the harmonies, get extending notes. Really just try to get it down perfect. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. But once you get it, you just love it all the way. It's great.
And let's talk a little about the presentation, because obviously one of the, your performances is a highlight, but a lot of times the presentation, the staging ends up becoming as much of the show in itself. What can we expect through the staging and presentation and the set pieces for this one?
So. Oh my gosh, the technical staff at Troy, Frank Marquette, Jeremy Hodges, Chris Rich, Brittany Bodley, they have put together a beautiful set and a beautiful technical presentation. We're using a projector, we're using some beautiful lights. The set is very different because you can see backstage. Yeah, it's gonna be very different, but I think it's necessary to have a presentation like that to bring this big music to life. You almost have to accompany that with the big presentation on stage. So I think it's gonna work pretty beautifully.
And how much does that, help or hinder your performance, having a set piece like that that's so interesting and innovative?
It's so open. It gives us a lot of opportunities to move. We have some really great choreography in the show. Ryan Wagstaff is our choreographer. So there's a lot of room to move, but there's also, it's kind of claustrophobic in a way. For your character, I think would be more appropriate. But moving backstage, we have to stay in character all the time. It's you've got to be in it 100% of the time.
And seeing the backstage, does that mean that your blocking and the choreography has to do with your moving around in backstage as well? And you mentioned that you have to stay in character.
Yeah, you have to stay in character. You have to plan your exits perfectly to make sure you're entering at the right place and not having to move too much backstage. But we're on our own when it comes to transitioning back there. Tommy Newman said, stay in character, stay in it. And that's all the note we got. So hopefully we'll stay on top of it.
Well, if anyone is interested in seeing this show that sounds definitely interesting, when and where can they see it?
The Trojan Center Theater, April 21st through 24th. For the entire run, that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Those shows are all at 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, we also have a matinee. So we'll do 2 shows on Sunday. And tickets can be purchased at the Trojan Center box office, which is on campus by the bookstore, or online at troytheater.org.
Troy Theater, online or in person. And as always, a warning to the theater fans out there, the Trojan Center Theater is a small house, and they have a tendency to sell out pretty quick over there. So you might want to get on the ball and get those tickets before they run out.
Absolutely.
So, well, break a leg and have fun with the show. It sounds fun, exciting, and interesting. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. Perfect. Awesome. Good job.
I just looked at Aaron like...